Welcome back to another episode of the Football Frauds Podcast. My name is Miles.
My name is Connor.
And I'm Matthew Vander.
We're here talking NFC East. Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Giants. We're going to cover all of it, go through the roster, give you some questions to think about for the teams, talk about cap space, give you kind of a rundown of what's going on in the NFC East.
I'm trying to think of the landscape of the entire conference. They had that fun thing going where a different team would win it every year for a long time. The Eagles finally ended that drought. The Eagles still kind of seem like they're going to be tyrants on top. I think the Commanders and the Giants are going to struggle to come back too quickly. But every team's got intrigue for sure.
No doubt. No doubt. NFC East is interesting every single year. At the bottom this past year, though, was the New York Giants. They fired head coach Brian Daboll midway through the season. They brought on John Harbaugh, fired by the Ravens. Big push by ownership to bring him in. Per reports, he's among the highest head coaches paid in the NFL. He's making like $20 million a year.
Wow.
Currently on fraud watch.
If you're definitely on fraud watch, if you're John Harbaugh, do you feel like this is a situation you want to buy into and be a part of? Me personally, I'm just very hesitant to put any stock in what Dart's performance was last year, given how, I didn't like him before the draft, but that doesn't really mean anything. I'm just very hesitant to believe that if you're Harbaugh and you have any job you can get, theoretically, that you would invest enough into believing, like, hey, Dart is going to be a top 15 guy the next 5 years.
So I'll say this. I don't think there's a team that's selling more snake oil than the New York Giants.
Ooh, I like it.
I think
Explain.
Jackson Dart, he's a fine quarterback, but I don't see him as a franchise guy at all. At all.
And they're selling snake oil.
Cam Scadaboo, he has the juice. I like watching him as a player. It's not a sustainable.
He probably has more
back.
vibes than he has NFL success.
And so does Jackson Dart.
That's true. That when they pose for the camera, they're like the thing where like looking angry.
Like Jackson Dart, when Cam Scadaboo got hurt and Jackson Dart's on the sideline just punching shit and like crying. Fuck! I'm watching right now.
Like, are they lovers? Or
And
what's going on here?
And it's like because of those two, the Giants fans and their like fan base is like, we're back. No, you're fucking not.
Yeah.
You're not back.
If I could comment on the John Harbaugh of it all, I feel like part of the reason he went there is because it's a professional organization and they have respect and they have family values. And I feel like whether it was Jackson Dart or some other, like, at least they're not empty, completely barren at quarterback. I think he just wanted to go somewhere where he got paid and it's respected.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, their defensive line is good.
Yeah.
They have a couple other good young pieces, but
Out of those teams that were hiring on the first wave of the carousel, the Giants were the best team. Best team available by far.
Besides the Ravens.
True. Yeah, I think we had a whole breakdown of this. The Falcons we had kind of high.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's good. They have Malik Neighbors. They have Andrew Thomas. They have
Dude, screw their offense, man. They have
Abdul Carter.
They have an insane defense, dude. Thibodeau.
Pretty much it's just Brian Burns and Abdul Carter.
Dexter Lawrence.
And Dexter Lawrence. Sorry, it's all the D-line, though. Like, the back seven needs work.
Yeah, it needs work.
For sure.
But if the name of the game everyone knows is you got to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's why they have some good bones, but they're not all the way there. That's why they only won 4 or 5 games, whatever it was.
And because Jackson Dart is kind of butt.
He's fine.
If
He's fine.
It'd be funny if Joe Shane had hindsight. Him trading for Brian Burns seems like the dumbest thing possible. Given that he's sitting there at 5, he could have had Abdul Carter in last year's draft, and then probably Bain or
Dude,
Bailey.
he might be fired if he didn't trade for Brian Burns, though.
That's a great point.
And they only have to I remember the Panthers denied the Rams trying to trade 2 firsts for Brian Burns.
Jesus Christ.
And then a year or 2 later, they only dealt him for a second.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
So, honestly, trading for Brian Burns for a second, I think he was like a top 5, top 8 edge last year. I think it was a pretty good trade, even if they had more chance to get more defensive linemen.
Very true.
Yeah. So right now they're just under the cap. They got about $2 million in space. They can always move some things around, obviously, to open some up if they want to do something. But I guess they're in a good spot where they don't have to do anything right now. And everyone that they have leaving right now, the biggest name that I'm really seeing is Wandale. And even at that, I'm not crying.
Yeah.
that he's out the door.
I think for their offense, they're losing Jermaine Illuminor and Greg Van Roten, who are slightly above average players, right tackle, right guard, I believe. So it's not the end of the world, but you need someone to play those spots. And with no cap space, they have offensive line questions. With a young quarterback, you want to see more than that. So it'll be interesting to see how they address those spots.
There's not a great history of late round running backs coming in with new coaching staffs. I'm really interested to see how Harbaugh appreciates Scadaboo's value and how he approaches the upcoming offseason, given they have Tracy and Scadaboo. There's been talk that they're pursuing Kenneth Walker in free agency. I don't know. It feels funny to me that they're trying to approach running back as a need compared to everything else in the
I saw
roster.
that too, that they're trying to get Walker, but it doesn't make sense. I still, if you have a committee backfield of Tyrone Tracy and Cam Scadaboo and you're the Giants where they're at right now, I take it.
Doesn't take any, like,
I think you want to pass the bar at running back.
Yeah.
Unless you have a lot of cap space, and to me, they've passed the bar.
Yeah.
we've seen enough evidence now to know that if you just look at like cap spending, any starting offensive lineman now is going to get $15 to $20 million a year. The conglomerate of that is like $85 to $100 million a year, and your two running backs are probably going to make max $20 mil combined. So like it's very clear based on spending in the NFL that what offensive line comes first. The Raiders, the Genti, like destroyed that rule last year and went running back first, and obviously it was a disaster. I think we kind of know more or less as a rule that's kind of the structure you have to follow. It's 85 to 100 million on the offensive line and then running back. So going Walker first and putting your cap towards that doesn't make a ton of sense to me.
I'd rather them re-sign Illuminor. I think he's fine right tackle, and then you'd have that stable for the next couple of years.
Well, the other thing is that you have a quarterback that can't process late, runs, like breaks the pocket, and tries to run early.
Yep.
You got to have people that can protect him.
That's true. So you can actually build the good habits where he trusts the pocket.
Yes.
I mean, that happened with Justin Fields, where he was a scramble first guy. Every single time they tried to make him work where he's processing the field more, it just like the whole offense broke down because he couldn't trust people. He couldn't see what he was looking at. And then it was like it only worked well when he would run. And then if he'd run, he would get hurt. And that's how it went.
Yeah. I guess they do have young stars that they can build around, but the question mark is their window, like is their window of rookie contract in the Giants' window of getting good? And the obvious one for me is Malik Neighbors. It's
Dog.
He's a dog. He's a dog, and I've always been high on Neighbors, but he's coming off an injury, and he'll only be cheap for so long. And so do you try to draft someone else to get in the room for what you think your window is going to be? Because I don't think it's going to be in your time frame of having Malik Neighbors on your team.
Then the question is, do you, out of all the other needs on your roster, do you want to spend 2 top 10 picks on receiver?
I wouldn't, but also I don't know how you solve some of these issues.
That brings us to the Giants sitting here at 5. They kind of have their pick of the litter. Styles, huge riser in the process, sitting there.
Styles seems like a great option if they could get it.
I mean, if you could build Styles behind that defensive line, you just kind of figure it out with stopgaps everywhere else.
We'll see what happens in free agency. They have no talented linebackers right now.
There's no elite lineman prospect that's coming up. Monroe Freeling from Georgia is flying up draft boards. He could be an option for them at 5. That feels like a huge reach given his production. Fano, Maui Noah, or wide receiver. It feels like Styles is the pick here in terms of like a guy who's truly transcendent.
If you're going to take a pick, Styles would be the pick for their team. But out of the teams in the top 10, the Giants are my number one candidate to trade back.
I like that.
I think there's really no need, and you can get more capital, and it doesn't make sense to reach on someone that you could have gotten 5-10 picks later.
Yeah. This is the class. Everyone makes this point. I just don't know how many teams are going to trade up. Like,
Great point.
Maybe you'd give up a third to go up 5 picks.
Yeah.
But even then, I mean, that's a lot to get. Who are you going to get at 5 versus 10?
You never know, and it's like you have that big QE year when the Vikings traded up to take J.J. McCarthy. And it's just because people started taking quarterbacks.
But to me, that's the difference. There was quarterbacks to be had.
Yeah. But it's not like people go in and they think that they know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
the board can fall in a certain way, and teams could value these players way different.
If Ruben Bain was still there, maybe someone really wanted Ruben Bain. I get Sonny Styles, maybe Jeremiah Love, potentially.
Well,
something I want to point with the Giants is they had Shane Bowen as their DC last year. Seems like he's not really it as the guy, but they're bringing in Denard Wilson, who was also back-to-back Titans defensive coordinators that became Giants defensive coordinators, which is funny. I've heard better things about him, so hopefully with that defensive line pressure where they have those three studs, if they can it's more of a Mike Macdonald scheme. Denard Wilson used to coach under Mike Macdonald. If they can do that well, I could see the Giants kind of turning over a new leaf on defense, and if their offense can remain competent like it was when Jackson Dart was playing, I could see them being a 9-win team this year.
Well, I mean, that's the biggest thing that we kind of touched on before. The fact that the Giants' defense isn't that great, blows my mind. Literally blows my mind.
I think it was Shane Bowen. I think if they can get Denard Wilson, like he did decent last year, they're bringing him in. If he can keep that going, because the Titans had nothing for players, but yet their output was decent. They can do that again, especially with the back seven. Sonny Styles maybe.
All right, who are we hitting next?
Washington Commanders up next. A very disappointing season coming off a NFC Championship game run. They somehow upset the Lions in the divisional round as 9.5-point underdogs. They go to the NFC Championship game, get blown out by the Eagles with a pretty transparent lack of talent. Kind of like the Patriots this past year, except they didn't make the Super Bowl. Jaden Daniels was underwhelming this year in the snaps that he played. I said the stock on him is much lower than it was a year ago, where it felt like he was the definitive number one coming out of that draft class. Now I feel like it'd be pretty rational to put him at 3 behind May and Caleb.
That's where we've been seeing it, especially because he was in the Cliff Kingsbury scheme where you're not doing a lot of full field processing, so people like trust the other guys who have had to do it. Maybe Jaden Daniels has a ceiling, but without Cliff Kingsbury, it's going to be interesting to see if he can transition into the David Blau offense. People think David Blau might do a Ben Johnson scheme because he was the Lions' backup quarterback when Ben Johnson was there.
It could happen.
We have no idea what David Blau is going to try and do. That's something interesting to see what happens with Jaden Daniels in that.
Was it they cut Marshawn Lattimore today, right?
Yeah. It was within the past week or so. It's recent.
Oh, yeah, recent. I think that it makes sense for their team. I do think he's going to be a hot commodity on free agency. He didn't really have that great of a year last year, if I'm correct.
They saved $18 million. He was still on a big contract. It was like a guaranteed cut. Everyone knew it.
They traded for Laramie Tunsil this past year in kind of like an NBA move, go all in. It reminds me a lot of the Dolphins a few years ago when they feel like they have a window in that first year. They have a lot of success that first year at their offense, and they think, okay, let's trade in assets and try and be really good right now. They're lacking on picks in this draft class, so they don't have the capacity to trade for a Max Crosby or trade up for an edge rusher that they love from 7 up to 3 or 4. They're sitting here with limited assets. Tunsil was really good this past year. Cosme, their other guard, was also very good, got hurt midway through the season. But they have the oldest roster in the NFL. Terry McLaurin's 39, and they gave Javon Kinlaw, who was terrible the previous years, almost $20 million a year, and he underperformed.
That was a nightmare. Like a lot. Terry McLaurin got injured. Debo Samuel was iffy. Bobby Wagner got worse. Frankie Louvu got worse. Marshawn Lattimore was bad.
Von
Miller did not work out as they wanted. Javon Kinlaw. So it's like this team that we thought could make another push this year. Almost every single guy did not perform to what they wanted. So they went from like a top 10 team to now it looks like a bottom 10 team besides Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but I mean, you got to think that the only thing that really changed last season was Jaden Daniels getting hurt. And that was the sole reason why they were like, okay, well, we're just taking a reset year.
Yeah. And I think a lot of just variance too. Yeah. Like things went well, then they didn't go well, and it's kind of hard to say exactly.
Yeah.
Jaden is 26 years old. Quick question. Where do we think Jaden goes among quarterbacks in dynasty drafts right now?
Do you know?
No.
Oh.
I mean, if it was me, I'd probably take him 6.
So you got May, Allen, Lamar.
Yep.
You might go right there, 4.
I'd take Caleb right now.
Caleb.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the dynasty rankings in a while for quarterback.
I want to know what you guys feel at a gut level.
Burrow. I think that. Yeah,
Interesting.
And so I think he's right there.
I think I might
6.
take Jaden over those guys just because rushing is such a. Even if he's not as good, like, I know he's just younger and he's going to rush for a while.
Yeah. But we'll probably talk about that later into the season and off-season.
I want to hit some fantasy and some dynasty stuff in the summer.
So if you're fiending for that, stay tuned, subscribe, and we will give you that content. Just wait.
Commanders sitting here at 7. They can go in any kind of direction they want. They have needs at wide receiver if they want to go Tate, Lemon, Tyson. They have an offensive line that was actually pretty solid last year. Their first-round pick, Josh Connerly, really came together along the second half of the season. They have 2 cornerstones at tackle for now. Tunsil's 32. He's aging quickly with Connerly on the outside. It feels like they won't go to offensive line, given they have Cosme who's good on the inside as well.
Well, they cut Tyler Biadasz, their center, today.
Oh.
He played decent for them. I think graded out decently well.
Yeah.
Just wanted to save some money. So now they have they have 2 tackles and a guard that they love, but there's still a center weakness and a guard weakness. So I would say it's open.
Yeah. This is actually my favorite landing spot for Jeremiah Love in the draft. I think if you can combine Jeremiah Love and Jaden Daniels and do whatever you want to do the rest of the draft.
Nuclear.
Literally, I think that's my favorite landing spot for him.
I'm so bad with running back. I'm so running back not pilled, whatever, that I look at the beginning of the draft and I'm like, should that team do it? Should that team do it? And I just he keeps falling and falling and falling. And it's hard because with the draft, you have to pay him so much with the way they do first-round contracts.
If he gets picked at 7, he'll be like the 12th highest paid running back, like the 15th highest paid running back right out the gate.
I think higher than that, right?
Well, Genty's like 10 or 11.
Okay.
He got picked at 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting to look at this team. I've been building a big board recently that's like I base my big board based off how big their second contract I think is going to be. Right, so I'm looking at numbers and I'm thinking about where guys are drafted, and then I'm basing my draft board off how big I think their second contract will be. Love for me is at like 12.
Yeah.
Which is probably where he should go, but at the same time, it's really hard to pass on a guy who you feel like is one of the clear blue chip players in the class.
Yeah.
And it would be electric, him and Jaden behind a decent offensive line.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But into that same point that we're talking about, they now have some holes to fill on their offensive line. They do have a bunch of cap to do it, though. So,
yes.
I mean,
what are they at cap-wise?
$91 million right now. I don't know if that changed after the cuts that they made.
No, 91 is up to date.
Okay. Yeah, they got $91 million in cap. Definitely feels like they could get a bit younger and try something new. All that to say is that you should expect this team to look a lot different next year.
Yeah.
Than they do right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep highlighting this again for these bad teams. Jerzon Newton was a top 40 pick at D-tackle a couple years ago. He's not playing very well. Sainer still was a second-round pick. He's starting to fall off. Trey Amos was a corner, second or third last. He had a bad rookie year. So you need, if you want to get from where you are to more towards competent, your young guys got to play well. Right now they aren't. Let's see if the new coordinators can turn that around.
All right. Who are we at now?
The Dallas Cowboys, the cornerstone franchise in the NFL, America's team.
Boo.
Yep.
Boo. Cowboys were 7-9 last year.
The Cowboys are fun right now.
They really are.
They're a fun team.
Jerry's kind of on a substance of sorts. I don't know what's going on, but he's wild.
All of them.
Oh, shit.
No, just every time you see one of his press conferences, it's like, how did you get to where you are at in life? How did this happen?
Yeah.
I feel like he's like 91 and every single day he's just taking like crazy fucking supplements in order to like keep up and like stay present.
Whatever Joe Biden took for that one State of the Union,
dude,
he's on that.
I have to show you guys this video. It's Frankie Valli. He does the song, "Oh, What a Night."
Yeah.
He still does concerts now. He's in his like late 90s. Every single concert, he gets up to the microphone and he's sitting there, obviously like drugged out of his mind, so he can actually be present. He's sitting there, he can't move. He's sitting there like on a mic, just going, "Oh, what a night, ladies." Like he's like very obviously
we
lip
gotta
syncing.
go.
I feel like I'd like that.
That reminds me of Jerry Jones. I feel like he's absolutely fucking amped up on supplements so he can
He's
stay
like,
alive.
Micah who? Micah, get the fuck out of here.
You called him Michael. It was just a year ago.
Well,
Michael was a great player for us, but there's always a time to move on.
So they trade Pickens for a third, which feels like a huge win
Yeah.
in hindsight. Pickens, talent-wise, is a top 15
he was
receiver.
monstrous last year.
My God, is he good. But they're sitting here kind of set up like the Bengals, where they're going to be forced to pay Prescott as the highest quarterback in the NFL. They gave Lamb an extension. They're giving Pickens a franchise tag. But if they want to extend him next year, all of a sudden they're sitting here with like 40% of their cap dedicated to quarterback, wide receiver, wide receiver.
Yep. They got expensive offensive linemen. They got Quinnen Williams, Oso Digizua. I mean, they're paying lots of guys already.
Well, this other thing is that Jerry Jones had us on an interview either yesterday or today and said that in order for them to get to where they need to be, they need to sell their future, essentially borrow. And
He actually said that?
And the reporter said, "Is that what you're planning on doing?" He said, "Expect us to buy into our future, like to buy into our future to win now."
I'm happy to hear that because they have had a good you remember that they went 12-5 3 years in a row, and then that period was like starting to get over, and they were like being so cautious, and it's like, you guys are a good team with Dak Prescott, like try to win.
And then they had like an 8% playoff percentage, and they're like, we're trading for Quinnen Williams. We're going all in.
Yeah, that was weird.
Despite being like eliminated.
It is weird, but now that it's all happened, I don't. I think if they kept Micah, they'd be better off.
Yeah,
but it didn't go terrible for them.
They're giving their two defensive tackles $42 million a year right now.
And they have Kenny Clark, Osa, and Quinn. They're paying three expensive D tackles.
Kenny Clark, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure they're going to cut.
They're paying their D tackles $63 million a year right now. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think it'd be kind of dumb if they didn't at least cut Kenny Clark or look to move off of him.
Yeah. They could save $21 million.
Yeah.
Kenny Clark, his worth this year might be around there, but do you really want three expensive D tackles? Would you rather move that money around somewhere else?
And so that's the other thing. It's not like Kenny Clark played bad, and like your only option is to just get rid of him. There are teams that need defensive tackles.
Yeah, but he has a decent sized contract. He's 31, or he will be 31, and his play, it's ticking down at a kind of a normal rate for a guy like him.
Prescott's 33. They're sitting here on the back end of a window. I mean, quarterbacks tend to age pretty well, especially pocket guys who can have success like that. It'd be interesting to see how they approach this upcoming year. Another Max Crosby location. If they want to just try and fulfill the whole Micah 360, end up losing the second-round pick, turn Micah into Quinnen Williams and Crosby, and give up a little bit of draft capital. That seems like a full circle type thing that you could kind of like justify. You could be like, all right, give up Micah, but we have Quinnen and Crosby now.
Jerry Jones brain blast.
Oh,
is he the smartest GM in the league?
4D chess. This motherfucker's ahead of the game.
Oh, what a night.
God.
They just re-signed Javonte. It seems like Jeremiah Love was a super common mock to them at 12 to start the year. It seems like it's going to go higher than that. Cowboys are sitting here at 12, and they have the Packers pick later in the first round.
Yeah.
Their defense is atrocious. On the outside, they have Deron Bland. They spent a second or third round pick on, remind me who that was.
Shavon Ravel, third rounder.
Yep. Ravel was 112 out of 112 quarterbacks in PFF grade this past year.
Yeah. He was a potential guy, and he was coming off an injury out of East Carolina. I liked him. He had the build, and it's just because he was from East Carolina didn't mean that he wasn't an Alabama talent.
Yeah, I was thinking
he just chose to win back.
Group of five, like Quinyon Mitchell, like, we got another athletic freak from the group of five. Did not go the same.
But you got to remember that in the beginning of all the draft process, he was projected to be a first rounder.
Yep.
And then he just fell for whatever reasons.
The hope for the Cowboys, they're bringing in the Eagles defensive back coach who helped coach up Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell. Christian Parker is now their DC.
Yeah.
So if you can get Deron Bland and Shavon Ravel playing at a higher level because he's apparently a really good coach, really good DBs coach, that is going to be what helps. I view the Cowboys as like, if their defensive coordinator works out, as people are hyping him up to be, they could be a contender next year.
Yeah.
No question.
Which is crazy for how bad they were, but like there's a couple. Going from Matt Eberflus to Christian Parker could potentially be the thing that puts him over the top.
The Tyler Booker first-round pick in the last year seemed like a massive reach, given how bad his testing was last year. He performed great for them. They've got a pretty damn good offensive line set up here. good receivers and Prescott and a competent run game, they have offensively the pieces to feel like, I feel like their average outcome for next year is like the 6th best offense.
Oh, yeah.
And
I put them up there.
If they can raise their floor of their defense and spend 2 picks on defense in this draft, their 2 first-rounders on defense, they don't have a second or a third. I feel like they can really form a competent team here and turn things around.
Yeah. The last question I want to pose to you guys with the Cowboys, is there any player that you would combine those picks for to move up and get if you're Jerry Jones? Or are those 2 picks more valuable?
I mean, I wouldn't. Crosby for 2 firsts is a little bit aggressive. Crosby for their 2nd first, and then next year's 3rd, next year's 5th is much more palatable to me.
Okay, but if Parsons, it's not the same thing. It's potatoes and oranges, but Parsons 2 firsts and
underpay
and Kenny Clark.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, how would you feel about them bringing in Crosby for their 2nd first, and then next year's 2nd and 5th?
I think that if I was a Raiders fan, I'd be pissed. I think I'm like, this guy is the only real reason why I'm watching the games anymore. Now he's gone for literally half a ham sandwich.
Who, Parsons?
No,
Max Crosby.
Crosby. Oh, right. Sorry.
I think if you're the Raiders, you want to get 2 firsts, especially because it's a different point of the yearly cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, free agency hasn't started yet. So every team still has more cap space, whereas when the Cowboys traded Parsons was like after it was deeper into the offseason, so the Packers had to Packers were one of very few teams that actually still could make it work.
The Eagles made an offer that was supposedly like a 2 firsts and a little bit more for Parsons, but Jerry Jones was not about to give Parsons to the Eagles.
Well, that's awesome.
And Parsons was younger.
Yeah.
So,
right, he's 26 and he's better than Crosby.
Yeah. Speaking of the Eagles.
Speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champ a year ago, they come in with super high expectations. Their offensive line was fucking awesome the year before. Saquon went nuclear. They come into this year as one of the favorites in the NFC, and their offense just falls apart. Their offensive line takes a huge step back, which is kind of predictable with offensive lines. We know that year to year they're not that predictable and how good they're going to be. Lane Johnson gets hurt. Saquon isn't able to find holes, and all of a sudden Saquon doesn't look like a superstar anymore because there's no holes in the offensive line. Wide receiver, they're set with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. Obviously, A.J. Brown, huge storyline this past year because he hasn't been that good. Reading the book on the sidelines, doing a lot of bullshit, potential trade candidate.
Yeah, there's all that murmurs about he's unhappy or the team is unhappy. The problem is his contract is like super weird to finagle for them. But
yeah, the thing with A.J. Brown is that I don't have issues if you want to take a rep off and the plays on the other side of the field, whatever. I'm honestly probably not going to see it on the screen. So you do you, man. But they're like, even when the ball's like thrown, and even if it's like kinda just not catchable, he just shuts it off.
It really felt like his effort changed last year.
I find it frustrating when wide receivers are in objectively good situations and they just get mad because they're wide receivers and they have no awareness of their situation and all they care about is their production and like where they're at.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're playing a position where there's so much noise and there's so much noise about how good you are,
totally,
you start to believe it, and it's like, I am like, what are you talking about? I need to do this or that. You know who the fuck I am?
He goes on Twitter and it's just a million people bitching about how he's sucked in fantasy the past 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think like last year, even though the Eagles' offense was so good, it was so Saquon based. So he's had a couple years in a row where it's like, dude, I'm an alpha. Feed me the ball. So I could see those stacking up. Like they won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but it wasn't going through. It wasn't passing. It was running. And then this past year was terrible.
Yeah, it's interesting if you like watch interviews from him coming out of Tennessee. Very, very humble. He was on a team that was ass.
That is so funny.
And like he was the best player on a bad team.
Ole Miss.
And you could tell that he was just happy to get out of there and like almost sad to leave, but happy like for a new like
the Titans were bad.
Like more like a better environment for him, conducive to winning. And then he's on that team, does just as good as he did in Tennessee, but now he's on a good team, and so now he's a superstar.
And he gets paid.
And now he's like, I like Jalen Hurts. Give me the ball. You don't know who I am. You know how much they're paying me to do what I'm doing. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Goddard's got a $20 million cap hit this upcoming season. They're probably going to release him and try and re-sign him.
He's a free agent.
He's a free agent? I'm looking at the wrong. It just says $20 million for cap hit there.
What the?
So they'll probably try and re-sign him for less. If not, there's a chance that Sadiq could fall to them at the end of the first round. That's a common mock for them. They could go tackle and try and find a Lane Johnson replacement. Guys with tools, Iheanacho or Lomu.
I like if Sadiq's there, it's the dream fit. But even if they ended up getting Stowers in the second, and if they have Devonta Smith and AJ Brown currently, they don't really have anyone outside of that. You put out Stowers in the slot. Stowers is a 6'4" tight end. Can jump out of the fucking gym.
Yeah, no. His testing is unbelievable.
He would work as a slot. Like, you don't want him to block. But
and the thing is, you can get someone who can just block in free agency.
Stowers is just supercharged Aronde Gadsden.
Yeah,
couldn't say it better.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
I was looking at Dallas Goedert. It's a void contract where they put the money into future years, and now like he's a free agent, but now the Bills do, so they still owe him $20.
Mm-hmm.
Going into next year, the Eagles try and get Mike McDaniel. He was reported to be their number one candidate among OCs. They end up with the Packers quarterback coach. Really unsure about how the scheme is going to look here.
Sean Mannion or Chris Mannion?
Sean Mannion. I think you got it right the first time. It seems like everything kind of devolves into what Jalen Hurts wants.
Totally.
Every single year, every OC, it's like, oh, we're going to change things. And it comes into like, okay, Jalen Hurts kind of just wants deep balls down the sideline and then hand off simple action to Saquon up the middle. There's nothing over the middle.
And another layer of that is Jeff Stoutland was in charge of the run game this whole time.
Huge.
Any offensive coordinator needed to marry their pass game with Jeff Stoutland, who was the incumbent. He was in charge. So by all accounts, he's a legend of offensive line development. He's gone because of the power struggles and the vibes we all know are not good in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So Sean Mannion has a big road ahead of him. A new offensive line coach for the first time in 15-plus years.
Yeah.
Legend, too, yeah.
Complete legend. By all accounts, the best offensive line coach in the NFL. So now the run scheme can change. The pass scheme can change. Like, are they going to do the same Jalen Hurts stuff? It's a lot of question marks.
So, yeah, I know that we have had some disagreements on Nick Sirianni. I don't think Nick Sirianni is a bad coach. I think that you guys would disagree with me. I hope you guys are listening on audio because Matt just did some horrible, atrocious things to the microphone.
How dare you?
Hey, listen to us on Spotify, by the way. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
Actually, just Spotify and YouTube.
And if you're listening on Spotify, you should listen to us on YouTube as well.
If you can't afford Spotify, you're a broke bitch.
You can podcasts are free on Spotify.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you guys is, as open Nick Sirianni haters, is this a year that he has to do well and perform? Is his job on the hot seat?
No question.
I would say yes.
It's make or break.
It's because of the dissent among the coaches. If it was the same record, but the coaches are all like, Nick Sirianni, that's my bro. I die for that guy. But it's like, no, the coaches are like leaving and the players are always confused and like the messaging out of the team is always like people are unhappy. Like I think the offensive line was all on a tizzy this past year. I think that's part of it. That's part of it.
They lose Stoutland. They can't find an OC that they want.
Yeah, they took them forever.
Yeah, they're sitting here trying to find guys, and everyone knows about the dysfunction in Philadelphia, and it all kind of centers around one very like dynamic personality who doesn't call plays. And having a head coach and that good of a team who doesn't call plays, it's just a massive disadvantage.
Vic Fangio was contemplating retirement. Do you guys remember this story?
Yep.
It was a big he is thinking he might be done, and it's like the behind the news is that he's kind of sick of doing it with Nick Sirianni.
And you just know that next year when that opening comes up, it's going to be the number one job available.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
I mean, they have all this dead cap coming up in 27 where they can get rid of Brown, Johnson, Hurts, and just kind of reset. But they still have a fuck ton of talent. They still have a top 5 talent team in the NFL.
Definitely, 100%.
And because they can, you have Howie Roseman, you have their cap manipulation where they're so rich, they'll figure it out always. They're going to keep competing.
Yeah. And on that note, if you guys are Philadelphia Eagles fans and you are also Nick Sirianni stands and do not like the slander that's being thrown on him by the two chumps that are sitting next to me right now, you should like and subscribe because I'm here and I will be here and I'll continue to be here for you.
I love you.
Fraud out.
Fraud out.
Fraud out.
Goodbye.